Everybody's talking about Europe. If, like me, you've had leaflets like this through the post, then you'll know that a referendum is coming on Britain's relationship with the EU. Our Every Vote Counts campaign has been relaunched for the EU referendum. People with learning disabilities can find accessible information about referendums, the process of registering to vote, and the European Union by visiting our Every Vote Counts website and by visiting our blogs and social media. At United Response, we're doing our part to provide accessible information for people with learning disabilities on what the EU does. But news and media reports suggest that it's not just this group of people that have trouble finding accessible information about what the EU does. Here in my hometown of Newquay, I wanted to find out what the average person in the high street knows about the European Union.
Not enough to vote. I mean, I will vote, but it's difficult to know which is the best way.
If I'm honest, I don't really know. I don't know enough to pass comment.
I'm going to vote, and I think we should come out. Personally.
Do you know what the EU does?
No, I don't.
We can export as well as we can import. So if we were out on a limb on our own, we wouldn't be doing any of that, would we? Because nobody would want anything.
Do you plan to vote in
I
the
do.
EU referendum?
I do, and I plan to stay in.
In Cornwall, all of our MPs are in favour of Britain leaving the EU. I spoke to my local MP, Steve Double, to ask why.
One of the things I've discovered since I've been an MP for the last year is that there have been times when there's been a clear will of the majority of MPs in the House of Commons to do something, but then we've been told, oh no, you can't do that because the EU won't let you. And the other thing is financial. We give about £20 billion a year to the EU, and we get roughly half of that back.
Do you think it is important for people with learning difficulties to vote in this referendum?
Absolutely. I think it's important that everybody votes in this referendum. This is probably the biggest decision about the future of our country any of us will make for a generation, and therefore it's absolutely important that everybody exercises their democratic right to express their view.
I arranged to talk to my local MEP, Claire Moody, from the Labour Party, as she returned from Brussels on the Eurostar.
It matters so much for people's lives that we are in the European Union. It matters because of the economy, the general well-being of the economy, because we're part of a huge market. But also we have all sorts of rights because we're part of the European Union. I think it is absolutely vital that people with learning disabilities do vote on 23rd of June. I think there are so many ways in which the European Union supports people with learning difficulties, and that money goes to supporting people who work to bring people with disabilities into employment. And it is really, really valuable work. And it is work we know from other parts of the country isn't going to be done by the UK government.
Some people want this place behind me to be the only place to decide British laws in the UK. Other people want Britain to be part of Europe. At United Response, we want people with learning disabilities to be involved. We want you to register to vote, to find out information about the facts, and to vote in the referendum.